For those of you who have been paying attention for any recent amount of time to online trends, you'll probably have come across something in terms of notes, or building a second brain, or ways that you can take down all the information that you absorb over the course of a day, or any thoughts that pop into your head. And while there's plenty of different ways you can go about doing that, and plenty of different tools, one that I think is grossly undercovered on most online platforms is that of Anytype. There's a couple cool features of Anytype that I want to go over. If this is successful, I'll probably make some more tutorial-esque videos, but this is just kind of a walkthrough of the potential and why I think more people should use it. So to begin with, Anytype is not only completely free, it is completely offline. Now, if you're somebody who's paranoid like me and pretty convinced that if they have something and they might need to ever go on a plane or in a car or on a bus, even though I rarely do any of those things, I'm going to want to be able to edit it. And that's where things like Notion fall apart for me, is though even though it looks nice and it might work well, it doesn't work offline reliably. From what I've seen, from what I've heard, if I want to edit something, I might lose those changes. It doesn't have a good storage system, and I can't access those files on my own. So I really don't like Notion for that reason. Obsidian, overall, it's just too complex in terms of plugins, getting things I wanted to do. Anytype is something that nobody's really talking about, and I think that's a mistake because it has a lot of potential. First of all, Anytype is free and it is offline, so you can edit these things offline. I can turn off my Wi-Fi if I really want to right now, and Anytype is going to work completely fine. It's going to sync completely fine. And when I go back online, because all the files are stored locally first, it's going to sync with those and then sync it online. So I'm not going to lose any of my edits when I go online or offline. Now, secondly, Anytype functions around objects as opposed to notes, which is something that might seem a little bit confusing, but it actually has a pretty good way of showing you how this looks. So it's got types of objects and it's got relations, which are like tags. So types are the way you organize your objects, as it's telling you very usefully right here. So think of types as a way you tag your notes. So if you're coming from Obsidian or coming from Notion, you might have tags like this is a note about videos, this is a note about, I don't know, cats or books. All of these different types are types of objects that you have. And so instead of organizing them by tags like you would anywhere else, Anytype skips that middleman step and goes directly towards making your notes in those types. So the beauty of these is that you can easily use them to organize. So let's say I want to make a new note for my book. Not only can I actually see all of my books over here with the database that only reads object type of books, but also if I go back to the library, I can edit what a book actually looks like. So I can say, okay, it comes with these things, here's the template that all books are going to have. I'm going to put my cover here. I've got all of these values here, and I can select, which order these come in here. So I can have the author, the category, etc. So types are basically a combination of templates and tags. They combine the idea of what this note is going to be all into one. And that's what's really great about them and really powerful too. So not only can you sort them, you can see them all through the type, but at the end of the day, sure, everything is still text, everything is still a note. If you hate object types, if you hate all of it, you can use it like something like Notion if you just want an offline Notion. But objects are going to make your life a whole lot better, and they're going to make things a whole lot simpler. Now, obviously, there's all of these objects here, but there's also object types that come with Anytype. These are like your templates, except they all come pre-installed. So I'm not using any of these. I don't have to deal with any of these. But if I want, let's say I want a daily plan, Anytype comes with a template completely created for a daily plan. Or, if I want a recipe, it already comes with all of the tags here, which I'll talk about later, but it comes with all of these, functions to a object here. Anytype comes with all of these object types that I might want to add on. So if I want to make my own, I certainly can. Let's say I want to make something that's like a video game. I can make one of those. And when I make this, I can, create a template. I can make layouts for it that are kind of based off of specific layouts. So certain types, such as, humans have a distinct layout where they have a profile picture. I can actually show you that right now. If we go back to the homepage, you can click on your face. And so I can set a profile picture here. I can set some information, and I can do that for all kinds of people, not just myself. So object types are really powerful in terms of letting you view your notes as pieces of data as well as notes. So instead of cluttering them up with tags and connections and all of that, you can make your notes as what they are and not have to worry about them being tagged the right way or in the right folder. They're all going to be able to be organized and searched based off of their object. Now, let's say you want a bit more specific information, right? Let's say you want a book, but you want to also have things like the author, the category, maybe you're the status of when it's being read, the date you finished it, the length, all of these kinds of things. Well, you can do that too, and that doesn't come through objects, that comes through relations. Relations are like complex tags, so you can use them to fill in specific bits of information. So, you have your basic tag here, and these are all of the different tags I have because I've just been using this for the classes I'm taking, but if you want, you can make all of these. Now, a lot of these, again, come pre-installed with Anytype. You can get rid of them. So I think there is something in here for music making. So that's why there's, track number, lyrics, composer. But a lot of what this can do for you is give you information about your note without having to rely on something like metadata or tags or anything else. So relations are really great because they allow you to insert information into your notes without having to use something as hierarchical as an object. So date finished is a really great one because I use this for all of the movies and books that I read and watch that I'm assigned or that I wanted to watch. Things that I finish, I want to have a date for. And so this is basically like a little bit of information that I can put in all of my notes or use in a template. So for instance, a movie template comes pre-created with the date finished. So I can now, if I want to see all my movie notes, I can sort them by any of these. So that's a good segue into the third thing that Anytype is great for. And this is for sets. Sets are basically Notion databases completely designed around objects. So a good example of this is my books set. Okay, so this is a database that only reads the object type of book. Now, if I want to change this, I can, and I can add a relation. I can say, okay, I want a database that's all my notes sorted by the date added, or all my notes sorted by their author. But I want to go with object type as opposed to any of these other relations. So object type is a relation here. So if I want to sort by object type, I can, or source object, but I'm going to go with object type, and I'll go back to book. Now I can set this to any other object out there. So if I want a note, let's say, of all of my classes or Java notes, that's how these are created. All of my movies are created around an object type movie set. But let's go back to books. So the object type books is being sorted here. These are all the books that I have here. These are the ones that, I've been assigned for classes, I've been assigned to read. And so what I can do with this set, sure, this is great, but not only can I incorporate this into my other pages, so I actually have a page called books, which uses this set, but I can also change the view of it. So this table here looks a bit like this set, but I've incorporated some other things into it. So for one, I can add anything from those relations into this table. So right here, I have the length. Now, in all of these books, I've input the length page into one of these relations. Remember, this is the relation from the template that doesn't have anything in it. Now, because of that, I can add something here and pull on one of those relations. So a good example of that is, let's say, I don't know, the stars. I don't have any stars in any of these. So I could click here, add new relation, type in stars. This is something that is created in my relation. So I'll click on that. And then because I read Uncle Tom's Cabin for class a while back, I actually have the amount of stars here, 4, and then I can go here. It's already pre-entered into here. Now, if I go into, let's say, 12 Rules for Life, I actually just finished this. So I'll set this status tag here as red, and then stars, it was good. I'll give it a 5. So not only I can give it a date finished, we'll say that's today. So if we go back here, it's already filled in this information from those relations that we were using earlier. So relations and objects work really well together in these sets. Now, obviously, as you saw, you can make different kinds of sets. So you can make different views. I personally like to keep things based off of their covers. So that's what I have for my movies. That's what I have for my books. It all works together really well. So at the end of the day, what Anytype is it's a kind of a conglomeration between Obsidian and Notion. You have a lot of the features of Obsidian, but you also have what makes Notion really great, which is those data views and this aesthetic touch. For people who might be, considering Anytype and considering the fact that it's a beta app, maybe it's too new, maybe it's unreliable, here's the great thing. Anytype community is basically the place where you report all of the bugs, you can suggest new features, and it's blazing fast. When I first got Anytype, I put a couple bug fixes on there that I found some bugs that I was experiencing, and within a day, I had gotten a response from the development team saying that they're going to fix that in the next patch that they're pushing out the next week. It's incredibly fast. They've got an entire team devoted to making this as best as possible, and with the offline functionality and all of the powers that types and relations have, I really think it's set up to become one of those apps. So at the end of the day, Anytype is something that I think you should consider. It's not one of the big name apps, but it's definitely something that is powerful, that does have a lot of capabilities and a promising future. So give it a try and check it out.